Hey everyone, this is Ken, and here's everything that you need to know about the iconic Cartier Tank. There's only a few iconic watches that the average person on the street can recognize and name. The Rolex Submariner, the Omega Speedmaster, and the Cartier Tank. You've probably seen the Tank before. Maybe someone you know owns one. It's the most iconic Cartier watch, having been around since 1917, with minimal changes to the overall look and design. Over the years, there have been many variations of the Cartier Tank, such as the Basculante, the Cintree, and the Asymetrique. There are a few core features of the Tank. Unlike most watches, which has a round case, the Tank has a rectangular case with brown cards at the sides. This shape resembles that of a tank, and hence the name. Cartier Tank watches feature Roman numeral hour markers, which add to the classic and elegant aesthetic of the watch. The use of Roman numerals is a signature Cartier design element that can be found across its entire line of watches. Next, the dial includes a railroad minute track around the edge with hour and minute hands shaped like a sword. Notably, almost all Cartier watches do not come with a seconds hand. It is likely a design consideration to keep a clean aesthetic and at the same time leave out the ticking motion of quartz watches. Finally, there's a sapphire cabochon that's set within the crown. On most watches is blue, with the red cabochon reserved for platinum watches. The Cartier Tank is largely regarded as an icon around the watch world for a few reasons. When it was introduced in 1917, the design was groundbreaking and unique, as most watches of that era were round. The Tank's design is characterized by its timeless elegance. Its simple and refined lines have allowed it to transcend trends and remain a symbol of sophistication for over a century. The design language has remained very consistent, creating a sense of familiarity. Its enduring appeal has made it a lasting symbol of luxury and style. Over the past century since its introduction, the Tank has been worn by numerous celebrities, royalty, and influential figures. Muhammad Ali, Princess Diana, Steve McQueen, Michelle Obama, and Andy Warhol. Former First Lady Jackie Kennedy's personal Cartier Tank was auctioned off in 2017 for $380,000, which was worn by none other than Kim Kardashian. Its presence on the wrist of these notable individuals has contributed to its cultural significance. Finally, the Tank's design is often described as gender neutral, making it suitable for both men and women. This versatility has contributed to its widespread popularity and iconic status. While the standard Cartier Tank is the most iconic, there have been many variations of the Tank, and we'll be going through some of them over in this video. The Cartier Tank Must is the entry-level Cartier watch. It was originally launched in 1977 as a mass-market product with a lower price compared to the rest of their watches. The name originated from the most explicit taglines ever for a campaign: "I must have a Cartier." The Tank Must of today comes in 3 sizes. The small and large sizes are powered by a quartz movement, while the extra large has an automatic movement, and you can distinguish it by the presence of a date window. A quick rant. Is anyone else confused by the size designation of Cartier watches? For some collections, they have small, large, and extra large. However, for other collections, they have small, medium, and large. For example, the Santos de Cartier in medium is similar in size to the Santos Dumont in large. Anyone else find that annoying? Anyway, let's go back to the Tank. It was reintroduced in 2021 following the discontinuation of the Tank Solo line. Comparing the two, you can see that the Must has rounded brand cards, while the Solo has flat brand cards. The Must also has a more pointed cabochon compared to the Solo. And as a strap guy, the biggest change for me is that the Tank Must case is designed with quick release spring bars in mind. And the lug width of the Must is also more standard compared to the Solo. The Tank Louis Cartier, or Tank LC for short, is the higher end version of the Tank Must and comes in the small and large size. The two collections have similar design elements, but the Tank LC is made with precious metal and features a hand-wound mechanical movement. There's 2 things that I love about the Tank Must and the Tank LC. The first is that the classic designs are strap monsters. With their timeless design, they look good on basically any strap. Put on a navy Saffiano strap, and this is the perfect dress watch. It easily fits under the cuff. You can also switch out the strap to a more playful one, such as this gold chevron, and the watch is now perfect for a smart casual type of outfit. If you're interested in more strap pairings for the Tank, we have a great strap guide available on our website. The second thing that I love about the Tank Must and Tank LC is the variety of dial options available. In 2021, Cartier went off script and launched the Tank Must in 3 monochromatic colors, and the black dial version was released in 2022. It has an entirely plain dial except for the logo and the sword hands, but yet this was still instantly recognizable as a Cartier tank. Every year since 2021, new models of Tank Louis Cartier were also introduced with interesting dial patterns, such as this variant from 2022 which has grey Art Deco inspired dial. This is one of the most dynamic dial that I've ever seen. Move your wrist just a bit and the entire tone and shade changes. There's a lot of experimentation going on with the Tank Must and Tank LC, and while these new designs may not be for everyone, at least they are willing to try something different. By the way, did you know that there's a secret signature present on most Cartier watches? On the Tank Must, it's so tiny that I cannot see it with my naked eyes. Do you see it now? How about now? Fun fact, the smaller watches have the secret signature on the 10 o'clock hour marker, while larger watches have it on the 7 o'clock hour marker. The next tank variant that we're looking at is the Tank Basculante. We have two variants here today, the 2390, which is a steel version with a mechanical movement, and the 2499, which is a yellow gold version with a display case back. Basculante means tilting in French, and this was Cartier's very own reversal. The Basculante was introduced in 1933, 2 years after the reversal was released. Unlike the reversal, which flips left and right, the Basculante flips up and down around a swinging frame. The idea is that if you're wearing a watch and you want to protect the dial from impact, such as when you're playing polo, you can flip the watch around and the crystal is protected. One of the benefits of its flipping feature is that you can actually use it as a mini desk clock. I love the Basculante because of how fun it is. Every time I'm wearing the watch, I find myself subconsciously doing this. But one aspect that I'm not a fan of is that it's very difficult to wind the crown, and it doesn't help that it has a manual movement. By the way, if you're thinking of getting straps for the Basculante or another Cartier watch that uses screw-in bars, and you're wondering if regular quick-release spring bars will fit, the answer is yes! You can just unscrew the bars, put them aside for safekeeping, and use straps with quick-release spring bars for easy and convenient strap changes. Next up, we have the Cartier Tank Cintree. This is the skeletonized version in platinum, introduced as part of the Privé collection from 2018. The Cintree was first launched in 1921, and the key difference compared to the standard tank was the elongated and curved case that followed the shape of the wrist. What makes the Cintree remarkable is that the curved case meant that the movement had to be curved, which is not an easy task to accomplish. I'm very lucky to have with me not one, not two, but three Cintree special orders right in front of me. The first Cintree special order is from Alvin, Singapore's very own Mr. Cartier. Opaline guilloche dial, burgundy Roman numerals and railway track to match the ruby cabochon and blue breguet hands. And now unveiled for the very first time are two Cintree special orders that I received just a few weeks back.
The second Cintree has a fume dial, white Roman numerals and railroad and silver breguet hands. I absolutely love the beautiful dial that transitions from a medium blue in the middle to a dark blue, almost black at the border. This features a more modern dial design but still retains the core elements that makes a Cartier. The third Cintree features a porcelain dial with a faint guilloche pattern, medium blue Roman numerals and railroad, and blued breguet hands. This was meant to be a more classic and conservative Cintree.
Across all three Cintrees, you'll notice the beautiful typography on Cartier dials. You can see that the numerals are elongated and more stretched out in the top and bottom of the dial compared to the middle. The 1 and 7 o'clock markers also have sharp angles on the feet to match the bend of the minute track. These are the small details that make a difference. I love the Tank Cintree because of how wearable it is, with its extremely thin and curved profile of 7.2 mm, and yet still has a big wrist presence because of its relatively long lug-to-lug of 46.3 mm. And finally, we have one of the most special looking tank, the Tank Asymetrique. Once again, I have the Special Order Asymmetric from Alvin, who has designed one of the nicest versions of any Cartier watches out there with the black on gold pairing. The Asymmetric was first launched in 1936 and it's easy to see where the watch got its name from. Before I explain why Cartier shaped the watch like this, here's a quick exercise and demonstration. First, make sure you're wearing a watch. That should be pretty easy. Now, whether you're standing or sitting, raise your hand up to your face to tell the time. Hold that position, and now take a look at the dial of your watch and notice the position of your elbow. If you're like me and like most people, your elbow is probably dropped and not raised up like this. And the dial is probably not in the correct orientation. However, if you're wearing an asymmetric, with the dial offset by 30 degrees, it provides a more natural way to look at the dial in the correct orientation. On the skeletonized asymmetric from the 2020 Privé collection, you can really see the beauty of Cartier's skeletonization. Rather than just a purely decorative skeleton dowel, the bridges are open-worked to form the hour markers. And this is also the first use of lacquer in the watches, filling in the hour markers to improve legibility and to match with the blue steel hands. The last detail to point out about the Cartier Asymetrique is the position of the cabochon. You'll notice that it doesn't quite sit in the middle of the brancard, and that's intentional. When I'm wearing the watch, you'll see that the cabochon is right in the middle of my wrist. Once again, a small little detail that makes all the difference. There are a few more versions of the Tank that we haven't covered in this video and I haven't personally handled or owned. The Tank Française was updated in 2023 and is basically the sports version of the Tank with the full metal bracelet, beefier case and brushed satin finish. Personally, I'm not a fan of this because I feel like the Tank is meant to be a dress watch. If you prefer a sports watch, the Centaurs de Cartier has a much better design and feature set. You'll see that on my medium Centaurs de Cartier, I actually went ahead to brush the bezel so that it no longer is a scratch magnet. That being said, one thing that I love about the new Tank Française is the applied Roman numerals. The Tank Americaine is another model that was updated in 2023. It's a bulkier and elongated version of the Tank mast, although the latest version has been slimmed down by quite a bit. I had a brief chance to handle the new Americaine, and apart from the slimmer dimensions, I also like the satin brush dowel. For those that are not able to get the Tanks in trade, the Americaine will be a good alternative. Next is the Tank Chinoise from the 2022 Privé collection. In addition to the vertical brancards of the standard Tank, the Chinoise has horizontal brancards that run across the top and bottom. This design was inspired by the architecture of Chinese and East Asian temples. I skipped out on this release for one practical reason. The horizontal brancards are polished while the vertical brancards are brushed, and that makes no sense to me at all. It's too easy to attract marks and scratches if you're actually wearing this out, just like the polished bezel of the Centaurs de Cartier. That being said, the skeleton version is incredibly beautiful with another thoughtful skeletonization and the use of contrasting colors of lacquer. This really shows why Cartier is the king of skeletonization. And then there's the Tank Normale from this year's Privé collection. The very first Tank was actually a Normale. This may seem like a regular Tank, but small details like the brush brancards and beveled crystal makes this version stand out. But of course, the main feature that got all the buzz was the bracelet, specifically a full platinum bracelet, which is pretty crazy, heavy, and expensive. You might not know this, but I'm more of a strap guy, so the bracelet of the Tank Normale didn't appeal to me. Finally, and this is one of my Griot Cartier watch, is the Tank Guichet. This is Cartier's very own jumping hour wristwatch, which is a complication that I've always enjoyed but never really got the chance to own. Also, of all the Cartier Tank variants, this is the only one that is truly shaped and built like a tank. There's only two small apertures displaying the hours and minutes, and the rest of the watch is covered up in metal. Unfortunately, there's not many of these going around, so it's a watch I'll probably only be able to appreciate from photos and videos. With so many different variants of the Tank, you may be wondering what's the best one that you should get. As with all questions like these, the right answer is that it depends. But I would say that the standard Tank mast is where you should start. Yes, it may be a quartz watch, but with a Cartier, you're paying more for the design than the movement anyway. And you can't go wrong with the most classic and iconic of all designs. With 3 different sizes to fit a wide range of wrists, is also one of the best candidates for a couple's watch. If you really want a mechanical movement, the Tank Louis Cartier is a great upgrade and I think it looks extremely classy in a gold case. I hope this video has been useful and that you learned something new about Cartier and the Tank collection. Despite the troubles that we at Delugs have faced with Cartier, I'm still a big fan of their watches and the direction that they are taking as a brand. There's no doubt that Cartier is one of the best watch brands when it comes to design. The core shapes and design elements of their watches have stayed largely consistent over a period of 100 years, and that's something that no other brands can brag about. Alright, if you like any of the straps or cases shown in this video, head over to delugs.com. And if you like this video, don't forget to give a thumbs up, subscribe, and stay strapped for more.